You're listening to Technically PvP, a podcast about player versus player in the world of Warcraft.
For the glory of Stormwind! Victory or death!
It's February the 5th, 2019, and you are listening to Technically PvP, a podcast where we analyze the various aspects of player versus player in the game World of Warcraft. Hey, I'm Jarisar, a PvP apprentice, and on behalf of Andalin and Winstead, welcome to the show. Unfortunately, Winstead, once again, he's coming down. He has some personal stuff going on. He just can't make it. And Andalin, as well, his brother invited him out, who he hasn't hung out with for I don't know how long, out to a game. So it's just going to be me and Mysticall. So, hey, Mysticall, welcome to the show, dude.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no, our pleasure, indeed. Just because I know you stream and everything. And you actually do a bunch of guides out there as well. I'm not sure if people actually realize how much you actually do for the community. Can you maybe brag about yourself a bit and let everybody know what you do? And
yeah, I'll try to brag. I try to be humble though. I got last season. I got Gladiator on 2 monks and only Mistweaver, no Windwalker. And as far as the guides go, I write most of the Icy Veins PvP guides. I'm sure you know Tickle.
Yep.
He's really good at Elemental Shaman, and that's one of my weaker specs. You know, I never really played Elemental, and he picked it up, and he's writing the guide for Elemental.
Okay.
And
so Glad a couple times, Glad on 2 monks, Glad more than once, I'm assuming, right? Or
a
couple times.
One on Orc, one on Orc monk, and then one on a human monk. It was way easier on Orc.
Really?
Way easier. Yeah,
that was because the whole the Orc racial plus the Relentless. Is that or
the Orc racial with all the RMPs curing? It's just it's really easy.
Okay.
On an Orc monk to counter. It's not really counter, but it's just much easier when you have Relentless, because then I don't have or hardiness on a monk, and then I don't have to play Relentless as opposed to my human, because then I only have human trinket to get out of CC.
Oh, so,
yeah, which is just stun, so I can't human racial blind or poly on a human if I'm playing Relentless, but on an Orc, I can run Trinket plus Hardiness, so I can Trinket the blinds. So it's just easier.
Makes sense.
Just way easier. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's awesome, and dude, I'm so glad that you're here to join us and help imbue your big brain information to me and my lowly apprentice-ness.
I'm happy to be here. I am.
Awesome. Well, I'll start off with you, I guess. Normally I ask the guys what they've been up to since the last show, but since it's just me and you, what have you been up to in the game of World of Warcraft in the past 2 weeks?
In the game in the past 2 weeks?
Yeah.
A lot of practice for the tournament this Thursday for I think it's AWC.
Yes.
NA tournament. Yeah, yes, this Thursday is the first one.
Oh, no.
And just a lot of practice. My team and we haven't competed ever, and we're not rank 1 players, but we're very competitive.
Okay.
Very competitive. So
what's your team name?
We are the other guys.
Oh, nice.
We couldn't think of a creative name. The movie's funny. So we're the other guys, and we've just been practicing a lot. Like a good amount every day or whenever we can, because I work full time. My warrior works full time, and then my death knight goes to school full time.
Oh, wow.
So so it's a lot of schedules to juggle.
Yeah.
It's really hard. I keep telling them to quit, and then I'll quit, and then we just do it full time. But they, they work in. Yeah, school's important, I guess. I don't know. So
not everybody has the backing of a Sea-Doo stream.
Yeah. I know, right? I know.
That's fine. It's fine. Well, that's awesome. So I guess just to ensure there. So you've been doing a bunch of practice, you and 2 other guys. Yeah. So it's a 3-team roster only.
It's a 4-team roster. My brother, I just gifted him BFA. So he's our 4th, but he's never really gonna play. So
Oh,
yeah, he just
cheering
started.
squad. Roger cheering squad.
Yeah,
That's good.
he leveled up. Well, here's the thing.
Mhm.
He leveled up a balance druid, got him to 120. I'm like, great. Hey,
Mhm.
Michael, just start doing some dungeons. I'll help you. I'll carry you in some mythic pluses. You wanna know what he does?
Mm-mm.
He farms mounts. That's what he does.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. What's wrong with that?
Oh my god! Well, I'm like, hey Michael, what item level are you? Did you unlock world quests? He's like, I started the quest line, but there's a Hulan mount that I just googled about. I've been on Thomas Isle for 6 hours straight. I'm like, Michael, please. You want to know what he did? So I told you earlier that I know how to make the Vial of Sands recipe.
Yep.
I was like, hey Michael, look, I'll give you the mount. It'll cost me like 15k gold. He's like, nah. I bought a token. I paid 60k for it. I was like, Mike, I could have gave it to you for 15k.
Yeah.
And he's like, nope. I got the Vial of Sands.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
He wants to be self-sufficient.
He's enjoying.
Yeah.
He's enjoying the game. He's enjoying it, but as far as PvP goes, he's still 0 rated in every bracket. So,
You should have just
he's our 4th.
He should have gone ret. Then he would have been totally sitting in the wheelchair. It would have been fine.
Our team doesn't need another melee. All we play is melee. I was like, Michael, just play caster and balance shoot. It was. Yeah. So
I understand.
One day.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe by cup number 3, he'll be ready.
I hope so. I just one clone. I just need one cyclone, please. He'll learn one day.
Just be a clone bot. You're fine.
And then he has Incarn on his Q button. I'm just, Michael, press Q right now. Q.
Yeah.
He's like, go.
Q.
Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome. Make him cry. Oh man, that is awesome. I'm really excited. Just looking at the number of teams that have signed up for both NA and EU. Well, we're gonna talk about it a little bit in the upcoming, but
okay,
dude, man, I am excited for those cups. You have no idea.
I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. How many teams? 38, 35 teams for NA?
38 in NA. And there were
38 teams.
There was 50 registered for EU, but one pulled out, so it's 49 as of today.
Wow. That's 49? What is? Do you know what that is compared to like previous, maybe last cups from last year? Do you know?
I don't have the
like?
metrics in front of me, so I don't have the historical. I'm sure I could probably find it if I went back. I will say the first cups of each season last year were really high when people just went in for the first time, and then after that it would always, because if you didn't win points in the first cup, then it was really hard to justify unless you wanted to keep trying just for the practice. But there's a bunch of people who are just like, first time done, right? So don't be discouraged. I'll say that there were last year. There's a couple teams that kept playing and they started getting some points right towards the end, right? So if anything, that says something. At least you're learning. So I guess before we I feel like I could talk to you for hours about this, but we really need to kind of push in, because I know there's a bunch of people listening and they're just like going, guys, shut up. We just want to know what you're thinking. Okay. All right. So, so I guess for me, the things I've been doing the last couple of weeks, again, I've been running the auction house. I super surprised. I was able to earn a token's worth of gold within like the last 2 weeks. It was amazing. And I wasn't like going hardcore farming or anything. It was just I got a couple lucky cheap buys for some transmog off the auction house, and then resold for some good bank, and just a couple other things. I got some really cheap the monolite ore, and when I mass prospected it on my jewel crafter, I ended up with like 5 Kraken eyes, and those things were going for a pretty song on my server. So it came back tenfold, which was really nice. Anyway, those things happened this year. Oh yeah, it was when I saw my bank, when I saw my mailbox, when I logged back in the morning, I almost dropped myself. Let's hear what else. So super fun thing this last week was the Battleground week, right? So
Right.
I was having a bunch of fun, and I did this one late night one. We were doing Warsong Gulch, and it was me, completely LFG, like just like random Q, random BG stuff, right? And we're doing Warsong Gulch, and each time neither of the teams were capping flags, right? And we're going. I was playing on my arms warrior, so I wasn't super confident in running flag, right? So I was letting other people run it, and some people were complaining that I wasn't doing it, and I was like, no, like I think and in the meantime, I was in the center field, like I was just having a heyday where farming honor, like you wouldn't believe. It was great, killing it, and the flag wasn't getting past us. Like and I was on the line side, the horde was not getting past us. It was great. Yeah. And then finally, it was coming down to the last bit. We tried to run flag, somebody killed, and I just happened to be, I was done. And I ran up, I threw on my defensive stance, I grabbed the flag, and it was great. Like I came across, I jumped down, priest gripped me over, right? And then everyone was jumping on me. All the healers dogpiled on me, kept me alive. Then I went in and I was able to speed cap it. I thought I was going to die a couple times. Seriously, like
there you go.
I did like as many defenses as I could. Like it just happened right at the time. Yeah, and boom, cap the flag. Like not even a minute and a half left in the match.
There you go.
Yeah, it was glorious.
See,
it was
see what
so
happens
glorious.
when you do your job. You just got a flag carry. There you go.
One job, Jairus. You had one job. Oh. And then the other thing that really amazed me was I ended up in 2 Alterac Valleys on the weekend. Again, fairly late night because I don't actually really do it until after my kids go to bed. So it was like 10:30 at night my time over here on the lazy West Coast. So like 1:30.
Right, West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast, best coast. Yep. And so we're playing, and again, normal horde, silly horde. You guys all stand up in Tower Point and the IB graveyard there, and we ended up having to turtle. But somehow we were lucky. We had a bunch of stealthies that knew what they're doing, so they were able to get south. And this happened twice, where it coming down to resources, down to the number of people, and we actually won. We won the first one. We won. It was pretty decisive. It was like 200 to nothing kind of thing by the time we won.
Oh, okay. So easy.
Yeah. So that one was like what we did though is we went back and we killed Galv. And when we killed Galv, then and then we took one of the towers, and then it was like we just won by resources. And then the second one, it got really dicey. I think it was like 25 to none by the time we actually. Oh yeah. Yeah. Wow. I was
close there.
It was really close. And the horde were trying to get into the ally base for like half of, like they were up there. They were pestering and grabbing bunkers up there. It was dicey. But yeah, we ended up winning just at the last minute. We ended up having to go and D up on Belinda to keep them from killing Belinda, so that we could maintain that slight lead. It was
those games are so much fun though.
When it happens like that, it's great. But at the same time, what I hate is when it goes full turtle and everybody's and it's that top of the hill of the bunker, where the horde are coming up from the north or coming up from the south, going north, and you're just coming south, and it just becomes like a kill train, and you're just feeding them kills, and it just sucks. Like I watch it happen, but these last couple times it was really good. Like I was really amazed. So I got my 4 BGs and got my little attaboy for that week. So yay, nice. That was about it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. I'm the worst leveler. I really don't like questing. So all I do is battlegrounds and then epic battlegrounds. And there was one AV where it was just a turtle. Yep. And I dash AFK. I'm not sitting here for 30 minutes to lose. I'm not. So I had to.
No, I don't blame you. I mean, I've been in those where I'm like fighting, and it's just Like, I know I'm going to lose. So
I'm like thinking, man, it's going to be 30, 40 minutes. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. Is it worth the 2 bars of experience? I don't think so.
No, not for that. Not for that long.
No.
But speaking of, is it worth 30 or 40 minutes? Let's get into the WoW PvP events.
Okay.
Get in there and fight! Stop hiding!
Indeed. So, I just want to highlight, since Adeline isn't here, I have to talk about it. The Monday night King of the Hollow, Resurgent Esports, they actually have a standings on their website. I know Adeline's talking about it before. Again, this is a 3v3 league. It's every Monday. If you don't have a team, just show up. They'll help you make a team, right? It's a great time. And like I said, they're actually doing a consistent standing. I'll have the link in the show notes for that. And you can actually see the number. You actually earn points now for every week. And I'll show what your win rates are, like how many games you've played and everything else. And it's pretty awesome. They're doing a great job on that. So the other things, let's see here. We got the NA Cup. We just talked about that, right? So you're in it, Mysticall. And there are there's just quite a few teams. Like you said, 38 teams actually registered. I don't want to sound like a downer, but I'm a little nervous for you, buddy.
I'm nervous for myself. Don't worry. Don't worry. Keep the bar low. That's what we got to do. Just keep the bar low.
I'll say so long as if you guys actually even take one game, I'll call that a success. Right?
You know what? That's the goal. Because I know I was going through the teams and our name was like early on registered right underneath Method Orange. I'm like, okay, please, not the first match, please. Anything like that.
So the neat thing is the seeding is based off of live ladder, right? So whatever your rating is based off of live ladder is how you're going to get seeded into the bracket. And if I'm not mistaken, that's going to happen tomorrow, I believe.
Okay.
I'm just going to look at it. Yeah, Snapshot is going to be taken at 6 p.m. tomorrow on Wednesday. And then the bracket will be seeded on Thursday with gameplay starting at 3 p.m. Pacific. So, boy. And then on the heels of that, literally, is the EU Cup, which has 50 teams registered to it. Oh, no, sorry. One team backed out. Is now 49 teams actually registered. So... But that's going to be a crazy, crazy cup.
That's busy. Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that. And then right on the, they already did it. The second cups are already up on Battlefy. So if you missed registration for Cup 1 for EU or NA, register for Cup number 2. Have fun. Again, it's open registration. And all you need is a 3 or 4 person roster. And off you go. The one caveat to this, and I was able to get a hold of the esports team over at Blizzard, and I got a hold of the rule book this year, and it actually says it in the FAQ on the official site. But if you're a team and you have points, and then you do a roster swap, you will lose 50% of your points. So, and that is in response to what happened last year.
Oh, yeah, something happened last. I forget who that happened to. But
Tempo Storm kicked a player at the last.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, that's good.
It's
like that.
It's to make people be more, If you're winning and you're earning the points, you're much more hesitant on just randomly kicking people for that last little swing.
Also, I don't know if they updated it, but they did a tournament realm restart, and they're not allowing PvE trinkets in this upcoming tournament.
Right. So
it's only PvP trinkets allowed.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything officially put out. I actually found out through I was talking to D Machine there, David Hollings, and he let us know about that, which was kind of say that as the last piece of news, but we'll say it now.
Really? Oh, that's so awkward. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I didn't know that.
It's okay. It's okay.
You know,
but I think it's great that they're actually they're not allowing all the PVE trinkets, so we won't have a replay that we had at the beginning of season 8, or sorry, of 8.0, right before the actual BlizzCon. That was so brutal. Those.
Yeah, I mean, granted, the safeguard trinket is still pretty good. But it's not going to be stacked with like other tank trinkets.
But
at least.
I can pretty much guarantee you're going to see triple maledict.
Oh, I've already seen it. I've already seen it. Yeah, it's gonna be triple maledict every team.
I saw one person, they put up their damage taken from, it looked like it was details or something like that, and it showed in 6 seconds the person died, and at second 3-ish was a triple maledict hit.
Yeah, that happened to me the other night actually.
Wow.
Yeah. Triple maledict. I dispel my warrior in a polymorph, and what happens to me? 3 of them just come charging at me, and I don't even know what happened. I don't even know what happened to me.
Yep.
I just accepted it.
Just let it happen.
Yeah. Right. It's strong.
It is, and it's not nice. Like I was talking with a few other people about it in one of the Discords. And it was almost a question of like, is there any way Blizzard could add, like, if you have 1 on a team, it does this much. If you have 2 on a team, the second one does like 50%. Right?
I like that, because some people are proposing like putting a delay or a cooldown on other maledict trinkets, but I kind of like that more. Where if you have 2 on the team, it does less damage, but you can still stack them or stagger them. I kind of like that.
So if you want to do a triple shot, the second one's only going to do a 50, and the third one's only going to do like a third or 25% or something like that. Or like you said, do it like a proc per minute thing, where like, okay, within like a minute, an internal cooldown, a minute and a half, if the next one procs, then it does full damage again, right? So like you said, you could stagger and just keep. We'll see what happens.
Honestly, and this is from a healer point of view. I don't play any DPS, but I almost feel like with how much CC is in the game, plus the addition of the maledict trinket, I wish they added another PvP trinket for healers, or PvP talent for healers, where it gave them like double dispel or like reduce cooldown on dispel or something like that, just so we could feel less punished for dispelling crowd control. Because if I dispel a polymorph, which is something I should do, right? Totally. Like 8-second polymorph, I should do that, but then I get punished immediately by maledict.
Yeah, because
for 7 seconds.
Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, how maledict works is when you trigger it, there's a time delay before it launches, and you can actually get dispelled on that, right?
It takes 1.5 seconds, and then it launches, and then you see a healing absorption, and you can dispel the healing absorption that's on your teammate.
Okay. I didn't understand that. Okay.
Now, as a monk, you can kind of cheese it a little bit, because revival, it's a 3-minute cooldown, but that also dispels maledict. So technically, once every 3 minutes, you could dispel 2 maledicts in a row, but that's not going to happen too often. So the first maledict, you can dispel both of them, but after that, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, and then using that just for 1 trinket ability, not including all the other normal abilities you were just saving it for.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like, it's going to be an interesting series.
Yeah, it is.
We'll see how it goes. Let's hear. So I haven't seen anything new on the Keystone Masters, but I have a little note on that, and I added back in the challenge links. There's been a recent splurge. I don't know if that's rise, I guess, of 1v1 tournaments over there. So I recommend, if you want to be part of any tournaments, it seems to be more just on the weekends, on the fly, but it still sounds like pretty fun. There was a RBG Contagion. I don't know what that was. It was a free for all, it says on the 2nd, but yeah. Anyways, if you guys want, go check it out. Some really fun tournaments. Yeehaw! All right, into our subject of analysis.
I'm gonna light you up, sweet cheeks.
All right. Today, and the reason why Mysticall's here, is to discuss TSG in 8.1.
Yeah.
So, dude, I mean, TSG, it first came up during Wrath of the Lich King, right? So the whole idea being it's Warrior, Death Knight, and then Healer, right?
Originally, it was DK, Warrior, Holy Pally, because Holy Pally is really strong. And then rest of Druids got pretty strong, and they adopted TSG, and then Monks came out, and they figured the aggressive nature of Monk went really well with TSG, so works really well as a Monk.
And it does. It works extremely well. And
yes, it is one of my favorite comps.
I enjoy it too because I'm a warrior. Not that I enjoy watching people play it because I'm like, oh wow, a warrior can really do some really cool stuff. And then I go and try it and I like flop on my face because
it's weird how much utility TSG Death Knights and Warriors have, and they're both melee. Yeah, it's weird,
especially considering how mobile a warrior is and how immobile a Death Knight is.
Exactly, but they still have if you use things in certain ways, it's almost overpowered how strong they can be together.
And anyway, it's just really fun. It's kind of fun to watch them play.
It's fun. I love it so much, especially with Crane. Man, I love Crane. I love playing with TSG.
Yeah, I can see that. Crane plus Colossus plus what's it? IBF.
Whatever DKs have.
They use.
That's good defensive. Honestly, Unholy DKs confuse me. I just know they stack necrotics.
So do you normally play Unholy DK or Frost DK in your comps?
Unholy, because the Death Knight I play with prefers Unholy, but you could absolutely play with Frost. I know some other Death Knights that prefer Frost, and they do just fine.
I've heard there's a bit of a controversy in the community of Death Knights as to which one's better, depending on who you talk to.
Yeah,
people say,
I mean, whoever you talk to, they always say Frost DKs are brain dead. They'll always say Frost is brain dead every time. So like that's why people kind of like lean towards Unholy, so that they don't get like whispered after a game about how bad they are. So I feel like Unholy is much more disruptive for casters. You know, you have Grip, you have Mind Freeze, and then you also have Pet Kick, which is just a third interrupt that they have. So they're very disruptive for healers and casters.
Like the utility the Unholy brings is pretty insane.
Yes.
I have to admit though, there's a really interesting video done by Flark. I don't know if you know him.
Oh, I have Flark my battle tag. He's the Frost DK I was talking about that said you can still do well as Frost. Yeah.
He has a wonderful video out there, and it kind of goes through a whole bunch of stuff, and it kind of explains just how much utility the Frost Death Knight currently has in its toolbox just talent wise. It can pretty much counter anything. It's really good. Anyways, all right, enough about that.
It's really good.
Let's actually rather than like skirt around it, let's actually talk about TSG though. So so we talked. I know there's always that banter about where does the term TSG come from. I think we talked about it in a previous episode, but it's because of the guys that won at BlizzCon there, right? The Super Gosus.
Yeah, the Super Gosus. Yeah. There are a lot of people that think it stands for other things. I notes them down. Train some guy, just one target, and then that's so good. But it really just comes from the Super Gosus that won.
I mean, really, those are some valid ideas on how you play it, right?
I mean, I mean, that's exactly how you play. Pick one target.
Yeah. Well, so we talked. So it has Warrior and Death Knight. We're going to talk the Mistweaver Monk variation, just because that's what you play a lot.
Yes.
So obviously the Warrior and the Death Knight, they bring a whole bunch of damage in their own way, plus the burst. But what do they bring like on the support side? Obviously, I mean, like, the whole team here. We got. I know there's Stormbolt.
It's almost crazy when I start to list it out. But you have Stormbolt on a warrior. You have Stormbolt. You have Dual Disarm, and you have War Banner, and then you have Fear defensively or offensively. You know, if a Walking Dead is starting to use their cooldowns on me, and the Windwalker pops Storm, Earth, and Fire, a lot of the damage comes from Storm, Earth, and Fire. You could just Fear all of them. Like it completely negates their go. And then the Death Knight has Asphyxiate. So Asphyxiate and Stormbolt are both ranged stuns. And then you have AMZ, which is really good versus magical classes, especially fire mages. And then you have Death Grip, which is normally used against casters just to close the gap. But let's say take the Walking Dead example again. If Windwalker is starting to use Fist of Fury on me, or something like that, the Death Knight can just start walking away and then Death Grip him off me and create some space.
That makes sense.
It's a lot. Yeah, they have a lot.
And you also, and you're monk, so you got Ring of Peace, right?
And then monk, Ring of Peace, leg sweep, and then we even have a disarm of our own if we want to run it.
Which one's
that? Grapple weapon. It has a 30-yard range, and I think it lasts 6 seconds. Okay. Pretty sure. Cool. Yeah.
And then I'm just trying to remember for the Death Knight, there's the AMZ or the AMZ, which is the big bubble zone, right? And then but then they also have the shield. They have the AMS.
Anti-magic shell. Yeah. So they have 2 forms of spell reduction.
Yeah, so that's their wall.
Which is also another reason why they're so good against casters.
They almost negate casters there.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
So like I said, like when you actually start listing out the tools that they have in their toolbox is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Now, traits being what they are for this expansion, Battle for Azeroth, what are we looking for then for traits for everybody? Because I mean, obviously there's some synergies there, right? And especially in the pan spec traits that you can have. But is there anything specifically you're looking for yourself or your teammates to have
as a monk or like as a team?
Yes, and yes. General. If you don't know, then
okay. The Death Knight pretty much just focuses on damage. There's nothing really. Not a lot of teams will go on the Death Knight, so there's not many defensive traits you have to take. So maximizing your damage is pretty much all you have to do. The same goes for Warrior, but there is one trait called Bastion of Might, and when they use Avatar, I believe they get a 50% damage reduction.
Oh.
Like just flat 50% damage reduction.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So it's just 50% reduced damage. So it's really good if my warrior can use that before maybe like a full kidney from a rogue, or if I get put into a long crowd control chain from like Hunter Warrior or Hunter Ret, something like that. It's really nice. The damage reduction is great. And then as far as monks go, you need at least 1 burst of life to reduce the cooldown of Life Cocoon by 20 seconds. And then with the PvP talent Chrysalis, it makes your bubble a 55-second cooldown.
Oh wow!
And then outside of that, it's it's one of the reasons why we're so strong right now. We could just rotate cooldowns. I mean, I don't even need to rotate any cooldowns. If I just want to press Chrysalis because my warrior gets low, or before I get put into crowd control, I just press it. Because by the time I'm out, let's say I'm playing against RMP, and I use Life Cocoon on my warrior, and I get put into like 2 polys and a kidney and then blinded, Life Cocoon is pretty much off cooldown. So that's why it's so strong right now. And then outside of that, there really isn't anything crazy as far as monk traits. Secret Infusion increases stats depending on what spell you use after using Thunder Focus Tea, which is good because if you have multiple Secret Infusion traits, they stack, even though they're cut in half in PvP. So that's pretty good. And then Overflowing Mists is good if you can get the Overflowing Mist or Enveloping Mist off before crowd control. Okay. That's just a few traits.
I like that because then you're not just like trying to find that one stack or that one trait and just stack it like 3-4 times. Like that's
it's really nice. Like right now in Tournament Realm, like some classes are probably freaking out trying to stack one trait, but as a monk, if you got there's only like 3 or 4 good ones, but if you have 2 out of the 3 in a piece of gear, you're more than fine. If you have either Burst of Life, Secret Infusion, or Overflowing Mists in your gear, it's more than okay.
So here's a quick question, just because I have no idea. On the tournament realm, when you get an Azurite piece of gear, are the traits randomized and you're selected to just be able to grab like in normal, or is it like you can actually pick
every piece of Azurite gear that you can loot? Every piece of Azurite gear that you can loot is at a vendor, and you just buy it.
But so, like, if I get a piece of Azurite gear, though, I guess the names on them alone kind of picks what the traits are, right? Is that what you're saying? So, okay,
yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then your neck is automatically set to level 50, so you don't have to worry about any traits.
Okay.
Like you unlock everything,
which makes sense. I mean, that's what the tournament realm is for, right? Is to normalize everybody's gear, so then it's, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, my mind just kind of went. Yeah.
Trust me, the first time I logged on, my mind was blown too. I really didn't think. I thought it was too good to be true. I was like, wow, my traits on live are terrible. But I actually get good traits on tournament realm. I'm going to do these more often.
Yeah,
I
remember checking out beta the first time, and it had basically all the vendors up, and you could see all the gear, and my mind just kind of melted because I couldn't handle them. It's like too much. Input overload.
It's like exactly. There's too many choices. There are too many, but it's really nice.
All right. Well, that's the trait stuff. Let's talk strategies.
Yes.
This is where we get into the real,
like
how does this comp work? So,
right.
I guess before we start going into, counter, what counters you and who you counter and all that other stuff, let's talk first about how the comp actually plays. Like, what is your ideal strategy going into, I guess let's make it even easier. Going into the Grand Arena, and you're up against another melee comp, regardless of what would you guys be trying to do?
Okay. Well, it depends on the melee comp, but pretty much one target. I don't want to oversimplify it, but I mean, it obviously depends on the healer too. If it's a Resto Druid, you're gonna be swapping on Ironbark. But pretty much you're targeting one person. And the monk, I have enough crowd control normally to get a lot of pressure. And then normally you will finish off the game with a fear from your warrior on the healer. That's normally what seals the deal. If you can get the healer trinket before the warrior fear, the next crowd control chain you have with paralysis and leg sweep, and then the fear, should be enough to be able to get a kill on the DPS.
So I want to make sure here. Strategy. So the crowd control chain that you're looking for, though, is paralysis into leg sweep into fear.
Yeah. It starts with the monk. However, if it's a team that can swap to me, if there's a rogue on the team that can easily just like kidney shot me, and swap to me, I'll try not to push in. So then you rely on the warrior Stormbolt or the Death Knight Asphyxiate as a stun on the healer. And then I'll try and follow up with the paralysis.
And then still roll into the last one being the fear. Good.
Yes. Yes. Fear is probably the most important part. That's where you're going to get most of your pressure. A lot of teams get kind of thrown off from the fear too. They don't expect it. Even though they know that the warrior has fear, they're just like, okay, it's TSG. They have incap. They have stun. Or paralysis. They also call it incap. Stun. But yeah, the fear is what is like the nail in the coffin. You really want to use that after the healer trinkets.
Okay. Because then it becomes full duration because there's no other diminishing return.
Nothing. That's important. Yeah. There's no diminishing return. Well, that's a lie. If I run Song of Chi-Ji, which is, I do run that against teams with not a lot of interrupts. So like Balance Druid or Shadow Priest, they only have Silence and then Solar Beam that are on a super long cooldown. Then I'll run Song of Chi-Ji, and that has a DR with fear.
Oh, okay.
So
good to know.
Yeah. I learned that. Yeah, I learned that the hard way a few times. I was really confused. Like, why is the fear not full duration? And it made sense. Exactly. My warrior was like, wait, what? It's not full? I have no idea.
Good to,
I didn't know.
But now you do, right? So,
yeah.
And now our listeners know too.
So, yeah.
Now, you were talking earlier about some of the other synergies. think like before we actually started recording, and you were mentioning how you also, because as a monk you run way at the crane usually, right? So on
Right.
top of
Yes.
your CC part of the winning condition is also the fact that you're right in there punching the heck out of things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Crane. So the first setup is normally paralysis into leg sweep, and then you press crane and you use your Death Knight Warrior, use their burst cooldowns. If you don't get a trinket, it's okay. You still have so much pressure from even just way the crane. Even if you don't have crowd control on the healer, you can still get so much pressure with crane. And it's really fun sometimes because some DPS will go on a solo mission to try and kill me, and I can use crane and I can almost kill them almost every time, depending on the DPS. If like, let's say if the rogue, I can normally kill a rogue not 100 to 0, but maybe from like 60% to 0 in a leg sweep.
That's insane.
Normally. Yeah, if you do the right rotation and a low lucky crit, you can kill a rogue in a leg sweep.
At half health, but okay,
yeah, about 60%, maybe 70.
So that's
yeah.
I don't know if I could do that as a warrior at full health. So.
Warriors are tough. Fury warriors are tough to kill, but arms warriors, I've killed a few.
I've died often as an arms warrior, but I'm not glad. So listeners, take that as you will.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So all right, that brings up an interesting thing then. So we're talking. You're kind of alluding, this comp, this comp, this other thing kind of change. Obviously you have to be fluid depending on who you're playing against. What comps are you most worried about then? Like, what comp is your Achilles heel?
Destrolock Fire Mage is the hardest comp we have trouble with, because it doesn't matter which target you pick. There's the other person's. If we're on the Destrolock, the Fire Mage is getting greater pyros and polymorphs off. If we go on the Mage, the Warlock's getting Chaos Bolts off. It's definitely our hardest comp to face.
Really, I find that especially with the AMZ and the anti-magic shield and the asphyxiate and the Stormbolt and the wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's not exactly the damage, it's the lack of mobility that melee have. I mean, it's sure warriors have, leap.
Yeah.
Is it called leap?
Yeah.
I just know I'd call it leap. Yeah.
But it's only one every minute and a half, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So he can kite maybe one time, but there's just a point in the game where the stars align, even getting one greater pyro off, one chaos bolt off, and that's all it takes. Even with AMZ, the amount of damage they have, plus like even if we kick all the greater pyros, that means the mage can polymorph me, and the warlock can fear me if we're not on the warlock.
Yeah.
It's just it's almost it's a lot
for both of them. So
we missed
it's
a lot.
We didn't talk about pummel for the warrior as well. For kicking my mages.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry I distracted you.
Plus, it's fine. Don't worry, I get distracted too. Don't worry. Plus warlocks have the double coil, mortal coil, and it's just they could set up off that the greater pyros. So it's a lot. And if we're playing on live, we're alliance. I was talking about this before you start recording, but I play human monk, and human monk is really bad against rogue mage. I'd much rather be orc because the hardiness passive that orcs have.
Which I get that.
I can talk about that more if you want, but okay.
I think in previous episodes, especially during Legion, when they changed everything up and Orc Relentless became such a huge thing, I think we covered that more than enough on this. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So your Bane of Existence is Destro Fire. What is there any other, like, do you feel like you're confident against anything else then, or is there anything else that
Walking Dead?
So
definitely.
So TSG
they kill me every time.
Versus Walking Dead. Okay.
Yeah, it depends on their strategy. If they don't go me, we normally win because my mana is normally pretty good, and monks are really squishy. So even after we get a port, after the monk uses port, and we get a full Stormward on them, we should normally get a lot of pressure, and then we just swap off, go on the Death Knight. For those of you who don't play Death Knight, you can easily counter their healing if you disarm them, because they rely on Death Strike to heal. But if they don't have a weapon, they can't heal. So I can normally use disarm on the Death Knight when we swap to them and they get low and they can't even heal. There's nothing they can do about it. So that strategy works sometimes, but man, and when they go me, I die every time. Orc or a human, it's really hard.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course my teammates peel for me, but one full leg sweep and it's pretty tough.
Like you almost have to I guess you have to hold cocoon and then pre-cocoon a leg sweep, but then if you pre-cocoon a leg sweep and then it's just wasted and they can just switch over to I can see that.
Because you save Trinket for Touch Death, because Touch Death has a 2-minute cooldown, and Trinket has a 2-minute cooldown, so you save Trinket for that. But you need to save Trinket for that, or you die. So you can't Trinket anything else, that's where the problem is. They'll just get full leg sweeps on you, and they'll just use Stormwrath and Fire, get a lot of pressure off that. Plus, it depends. If it's in the Holy Death Knight, they have 2 kicks, 3 kicks if you count Death Grip. So you have Death Grip, Mind Freeze, and then Pet Kick, and then you have the Windwalker Kick, plus you have Paralysis that can stop your healing. They have a lot of micro interruptions. Yeah. And monks. Ding, ding. Mistweaver monks rely on Soothing Mist, and it's just hard. Plus, Ring of Peace is really good against melee, but Windwalker monks can just Ring of Peace or Ring of Peace and just knock us out of it completely. So, it's really hard.
Can they?
Yeah. And then you could play Crane.
Yeah.
If you wanted to. Oh, sorry. You could play Crane if you want to, but Windwalker monks have the Fist of Fury parry if they spec into it, which they will. And you can't hit them when Fist of Fury is up. So you have to find a different target, which is a lot because Fist of Fury is doing so much damage as well.
I didn't realize that. Okay. That actually kind of explains some things, because I remember trying to hit a monk once and I wasn't doing any damage and he was Fist of Fury. So
yeah, Fist of Fury. Yeah, unless you hit them unless you get behind them when they're casting Fist of Fury, because you can't parry from behind. That's just they're gonna parry everything. So that's why I don't like Walking Dead that much. I like when they go my teammates, not me. So the game's a lot easier.
So if anybody wants to join me, I'll level up my DK and we'll do Walking Dead. And hey, Mysticall, what you doing this weekend?
No, I will not queue. Oh, are you queue into me? I will not queue at all.
Oh boy. Okay. So we covered that. We know what you're winning. This is the question I love asking, just because it's me. So I think you kind of alluded, you said it already, but I have to say it succinctly. How do we kill you? So is the answer to killing TSG is just killing you as the Mistweaver? Yeah,
like killing the monk.
Is that the
if I position right, it's gonna be hard to kill me, because again, like the Death Knight and Warrior have so many peels for me. Normally, you're gonna be killing the Warrior. The Warrior is probably the easiest target to kill because they have not a lot of mobility, and their parry ability. I call it parry, but is it Die by the Sword?
Yeah, Die by the Sword. They do spinning swords around themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of weak to casters. So so, and magical damage. So like Assassination Rogues are melee, but a lot of their damage is from poisons. So which is magical, exactly. So, and same with Death Knights. Death Knights are melee, but a lot of the damage is magical. Same with Demon Hunters. They have a lot of it's chaos damage? I'm not entirely. It's some kind of magical damage, like Eye Beam.
Yeah, I can kick some kind of magical damage. I don't know what school it is, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. So even though you use Die by the Sword versus melee teams, it still can be kind of countered. But again, if you're playing on a team that has some kind of disarm, you can absolutely kill the Death Knight, because you could disarm and they can't use Death Strike, which is really big.
That's huge, yeah.
That's plus, and Maledict, like Deathstrike heals, right? And Maledict absorbs healing. So Maledict is really good to use on a Death Knight because their Death Strikes are just going to be doing nothing. They're going to be going through the healing absorption and they'll still be low in health no matter what, unless I'm healing them. So Death Knights are also viable, but because they have so many ways to get out stuns, not a lot of teams go them. Most of the teams focus on the Warrior. And then some teams can kill me, but not a lot.
Now, I guess because just being an arms warrior, does your warrior swap stances often? Like so whenever he's being goad on, he goes defensive stance, and whenever he's going to go, he goes whatever the other one is.
Yeah, I don't really call it out too much for him because he kind of knows. We've learned quite a bit, how easy it is for teams to notice that you're not in defensive stance and then just swap you and kill you. So there is definitely a balance.
Shields really kind of show what you're doing.
They give it away a little bit. So, if teams are focusing me, my warrior can focus on doing damage. But as soon as they start CCing me, he goes straight into defensive stance because he knows he will be the focus target.
Smart guy.
So yeah, we've all learned how easy it is for them to swap to a warrior and kill them.
And it's funny because being a plate wearing class, how quickly I can melt when I'm trained. I don't understand it half the time.
Yes, I know. I don't understand it sometimes. Sometimes he just dies and he's in defensive stance. I just don't understand how. But
I just want to complain for a sec. I'm going to get on my soapbox. We go.
It's what I complain for a little bit. It's your turn.
Frustrates me how quickly I will die when I'm not in plate armor, when I'm not in defensive stance, and yet I'll take 4 people wailing on a druid in bear form.
Preach it. Yeah. Oh, preach it. Yeah.
And he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to have Iron Bark. He doesn't have to have Dark Skin. Like just bear.
Oh no! You're starting to open up a can of worms here. Druids, man, bear form needs a cooldown or something. I swear, it needs something. I don't know what it needs, but I was doing 2s today, and I cannot hit a druid.
I can hit them.
Druids, bear form
but I ain't
needs
doing anything.
a nerf. Yeah, and then all they gotta do is put thorns on them, and I'm at 50% health. Somebody help me with that? What's thorns?
I know
it's crazy.
Yeah,
but yeah. Druids,
so how do I, as a plate wearing warrior, like?
Yeah,
I am gonna. Yeah.
Trust me, I know. Yep. Yeah. Don't you worry about it. We've all been there.
I swear, rogues have can openers for knives. That's all there is to it.
Oh my god, it's true. No one likes when druids are good. Like everyone that plays druid wants druids to be good, but they don't even want druids to be good.
Druids are good when I'm a druid because
but right
at the same time when I'm playing a druid and all I'm doing is sitting in bear form doing swipe or in bear form and swiping instead of being a moonkin and doing all the moon things I'm supposed to be doing. That's annoying, right?
Yep.
Anyway, whatever. Okay.
No, don't you worry. I know.
Please imagine a bunch of people in the car right now yelling at the radio. I know, right? Oh!
Man, as soon as I saw the 10% healing buff to Rest of Druids, I knew it. I was like, oh man, it's going to be one of those seasons.
It's funny though, because I was talking to, just to allude to that, I talked to a few people through Twitter there's a few people that are Rest of Druid mains, and they were happy because they felt that Druids weren't very strong as far as PvP healers. But then the buff happened, and then some other people were talking about, they're like, I don't know why they got a buff. They're like super strong.
Oh my, yeah, of course they would say that. Of course they would say that. Yeah. They're a hard healer to balance because when they're good, they're good. Well, it's mostly because they're really mana efficient.
Disc, though. I mean,
so
disc,
disc. I think disc and monk are the hardest healers to balance, like easily. Because we saw what happened when monk was good. Everyone was complaining for 2 weeks straight. That's all Twitter. Yeah, I mean, we're good for 2 weeks, but it's all right. Nerf us. It's all right. I'll take the nerf. It's okay. You know what? It's all right. I'll take it.
You guys are still gimped anyways because it took that one mobility away from you back in.
And this walk. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. I'll never. You know what? In beta, yeah, I'm not gonna. You know what? I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm not even gonna talk. But Disc Priests, they already
know,
do
right?
really good damage. But they have to change the atonement healing, like maybe increase the healing of atonement. I kind of feel bad for them because they need some kind of mobility buff. I don't know what. I really don't know what. But they need some kind of mobility to get away from melee. I don't know. But then if you give them mobility, they have damage and healing, and
Yeah.
so
It's like I
it's
said,
hard.
it's their kit is very interesting. They
Yes.
the issue with that is that if you decrease their damage, then their healing goes down, and then they become garbage
Yep.
here, right?
Exactly.
Like, but then if you buff their healing, like where's that point, right? And then
Yeah.
but I guess
Yeah.
the flip side to the whole conversation there is that whole paper rock scissors thing. It's like, okay, well, if you're playing paper, I'm not going to play rock. So okay, it's pretty,
Yeah.
and I guess that's when you're talking solely on an esports venue where you can decide what you're playing against.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then that's
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not even thinking about esports. I'm thinking just ladder. But now that you say about esports, yeah, that makes it even harder to balance because you could just counter. They're really hard healer to balance.
I mean,
I think they have to do
really,
something with atonement healing.
If
I don't know
teams
what.
really want to, they can just put their disc priest on the bench and bring in the prot pally, and it'll be fine.
Oh no! Oh, don't even get me started about tanks. Come on, you're just bringing it all out tonight.
You're fun to bug. You're fun to bug. No, I'm bugging you.
I lost a prot warrior. I lost to 2 prot warriors in a row. 2 prot warriors in a row. It doesn't make any sense.
But
I can't kill it. 40% damage reduction on their teammates. What am I supposed to do for that? What do we do? And you can't kill the warrior.
No.
So what am I supposed to do?
Disarm him. Maybe.
Yeah. I wish I tried. I tried that.
Okay,
didn't work.
All right, hey. Enough rambling. I'm loving this. Like I said, I could talk to you for hours about this stuff. But
dude, me too. I love WoW. Me too. I could talk about it for hours. Okay, man.
Let's get back on topic. Okay. So back to TSG. So we're talking 2 melee plus a healer that's mobile-ish. What's the positioning you're looking for on maps, though? Right.
As a monk or as a healer in general?
You obviously can't do triangle, right? Because
right. Yeah.
So are you hiding on the pillar and just doing the zip in and out, and then
yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It depends on the situation. Depends on what we're playing against. Obviously, against teams with a lot of crowd control, I'll be behind the pillar a lot, and I won't play Crane. I love Crane as much as I love Crane. There are teams where you can't choose it because as soon as you step out of the pillar against maybe Frost Mage, Assassination Rogue, you're going to get polyed. You're going to get cheap shot into poly. And if you kick the poly, you're just going to get, they could just do all their damage. So positioning as a monk, it needs to be like, you need to be very good at positioning on a monk because all it takes is 1 crowd control and you could lose the game.
So you need to be just how it is.
Yeah. Like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, to put it in perspective for other healers, you have Disc Priests that can prem a poly, right? They could use premonition and do damage to themselves to break the poly. You have Druids that could pre-bear polymorphs. You have Pallies that could pre-sack a polymorph or a blind, something like that. And then Shaman, you have grounding, you have shear. Shamans they have a lot to stop. Monks, I could port, but that it gets a little complicated because if I port and the other team sees that, they could just swap to me because then I don't have port for 45 seconds.
Ooh.
So monks need to have really good positioning when it comes to on each map, especially behind the pillar. One of the biggest mistakes that I used to make was, we used to be really far ahead. Let's say we got the mage block and cauterize, and we're super far ahead. I would push in and try and paralysis the healer, and then I would get caught in a polymorph and my team would just die. So the hardest part about being a monk is not being too aggressive against teams that could punish you. But if there are teams that really have a hard time punishing you, you could just run up to the healer and use Crane paralysis. to do damage.
Okay.
But you need to be really good
Sounds
positioning on a
like
Mystical
that
Monk.
sounds.
Yeah, that's the healing for Monk is really easy. You know, Soothing Mist, Enveloping Mist, Vivify.
Yeah.
The healing's easy. It's the micro things. It's the positioning, and it's juking because we get locked out. All of our healing.
You have one school.
It's trouble. But
Okay.
yes. So
it's that whole like easy to pick up, hard to master kind of thing.
I would say so. Yeah, it's really easy to heal on a Monk. Really easy. Yeah, exactly. But as far as positioning goes, and your team needs to be in sync with you as well. We had a hard time a few weeks ago. We were playing against RMP a lot, and we were stacked up. We were stacked up behind the pillar. And for other healers, that might be okay. Maybe for Resto Shaman who have Earther and Shield Totem, that's okay. Plus their mastery is nice. They come out of CC, they could top somebody. But when you have a rogue that could cheap shot you without having to use mobility to get to you, and then just get a free polymorph from that, it's really hard for the Monk to avoid any kind of crowd control because there's nothing I can do. If I waste paralysis to stop a polymorph, I don't have any CC for the healer. So you really need to be synced as a team. You really want your team kind of in the middle of the map, but not too far away from the pillar. And then you just stay behind the pillar, use the pillar, and then port when you have to. And then expect them to swap to you, any team to swap to you. So after you port.
Just quickly, silly question here.
No silly questions.
If you get, let's say you get stuck in the whole blind poly, shadow step blind poly, whatever, right? What's the
right? Okay.
Is your team expected to come back and pull them off, or are they going to? Are they going to just go like full in on, let's say, the other healer, and by
I'm full panic mode at that point. I'm just like, I'm blinded. Okay. Everyone's dead. No, but seriously, if they blind me and they're going to DPS, so let's just say, for example, we're playing against Assassination Rogue, Fire Mage, and then Priest, something like that. R&B. So a lot of monks have trouble versus Assassination Rogues because they say that they get one shot. So when I get blinded, odds are that the Fire Mage is going to be using Combust. And this is where the support from DPS comes in. So they're probably going to be on my Warrior. And if I'm full blinded, they're going to be on my Warrior. So that means my Death Knight needs to use Anti-Magic Zone. That stops a lot of the magic damage that the Fire Mage does.
Rogue,
and then the Monk, and then the Monk absolutely needs to save Trinket for Vendetta every time. No matter what the scenario is, no matter what cooldowns the Warrior has to pop, you need to save Trinket for Vendetta, even if it's not on you, because Vendetta has a 2-minute cooldown and your Trinket has a 2-minute cooldown. So you want those two to line up, because Vendetta, even if you play Orc, you will die if you don't have Trinket easily. It's not even. It's so easy for them to kill you. All they need is Meteor, Vendetta, and then Priest, a little bit of Priest damage plus Maldic trinkets, and you'll die in even a half kidney shot.
Ouch. Okay.
Trust me.
I trust. I was just thinking, what if, can your teammates outpower the damage? So then it becomes you're going to our healer, we'll kill your healer at the same time. And then it becomes 2v2.
It depends on the healer. Yeah, they could definitely. So if the team, if the Rogue Mage is 100% all inning on me, and I can draw them away from their healer, my TSG can easily kill a Disc Priest. No questions, easily. Yeah, because they have the Disc Priest needs peels. They need help. They need the polys and the cheap shots from the Rogue. So if they're all inning on me, I'm not even worried. I'll just kite. I'll use my wall or Fortifying Brew and just stay alive as long as I can, because I know that they can easily kill a Priest. But it's when they swap to me, and then my team's trying to kill the Priest, but they're not far away enough. So then the Mage can get polymorphs, and the Rogues can get cheap shots,
so
and then the Priest can recover,
and then you guys are behind the back.
Exactly. Yep. And then it's kind of hard versus the Holy Paladin. Holy Paladin has freedom, and we don't have any purges, so he could just freedom horse away after my Death Knight uses grip. Druids are hard. Bear Form and Barkskin. And they're really the other healers you don't see with TSG too often. Sometimes Resto Shaman, but not that often.
All right, dude. Thank you very much. I appreciate
It's
just how much information you have there, and like I'm sure people are probably right now like just absorbing it all. They're probably they probably rewound it a few times, like just to hear that all goes. Wow.
I tend to talk kind of fast sometimes when I'm trying, because my brain, I'm trying to get it all out there. If anyone ever has any questions, like I'm happy. I'm happy I could help people. That's
and
I mean,
we're gonna put your information at the bottom of the show here, at the bottom of the show notes. So if anybody wants to, and they want to like ask direct questions, if you're open to that, then we'll just put the stuff down there. And
all right. Absolutely. Yes. I love answering questions. Yes. Trust me. I do. I always had a lot of questions when I first started playing Monk, and trust me, to learn to save Trinket for Vendetta, I died like 50 times to the same Assassination Rogue Disc Priest team in twos over and over again. I was just like, you know what? I died with Vendetta. I'm saving Trinket for it. And then all of a sudden we won.
If at first you don't succeed, only works so long as you change the next time.
Exactly. So trust me. Look, I've played about, like last season, I played about 3,000 games.
Wow.
So I played a little bit.
Just a couple.
So I feel like, just a couple of games. So hopefully, I've learned a lot.
So just to back cap, overall analysis, the TSG, obviously a lot of damage available, consistent and burst, really good utility belt, but some vulnerabilities which open it to some issues. I would say in comparison to some of the other comps we've been talking about, I would say you guys are kind of in line, but a little bit hampered compared to just how powerful. Just talking with the guys, it sounds like the Cupid and Jungle are much more powerful, but also I guess they're more the glass cannon versus you guys are more consistent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I listened to the SSDS one about Cupid, and the main difference is they have a predetermined setup, right? They have Hodge into trap every setup, and we have sometimes incap into stun if I could push out, so it's not consistent like that, but we make up for it with damage. Is there one more thing I can talk about? Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to. Death Knights have something called Dark Simulatron. I think that's the spell.
It's the DK. It's the DK.
Okay.
Yeah. Or spell.
Right, and what that does is if you put it on a player, the next spell that they cast, the Death Knight gets.
Yep.
So something you could do against RMP if you're struggling. My Death Knight steals Greater Pyros. He says, "Let it go off." So let it go. What my warrior does is he presses exact. Let it go. Just let it go. I'm like, I trust you, but that's a Greater Pyro. My warrior uses Reflect, and my Death Knight steals it. So that's 2 Greater Pyros that you could steal or hit. Yeah, exactly. Or even better is when you're training the Disc Priest. When you're training, the hardest thing is getting the priest low enough in execute range for the warrior. To press execute. And to help with that, my Death Knight just lets Greater Pyros, it goes off, steals it, and then uses it on the priest at low health, and you could kill it. Like Greater Pyro into execute. So that's just something niche. If you're struggling with slows, the Death Knight can sometimes steal freedom. Usually when they use Chains of Ice, the Holy Paladin will use freedom. So if you put it on the Holy Paladin, you can get freedom. For druids, you could take Cyclone.
Done that.
Mid cast. You could do the same thing with mages with polymorph. Get a full poly on the healer. So that's extra utility. That it's just a little niche thing that if you're like good at getting the Greater Pyros or like Cyclones or Fears or polymorphs, it really sets you apart from other Death Knights. It's really nice. Yeah.
Now I think the one thing though is Dark Simulacrum you have to talent into. So I think you have to give something up to get that.
That's right. Yeah.
I can't remember what it is.
Well, it's a risk, right?
Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not too sure
Yeah.
either. Don't worry. I'm
But
not sure either.
you're right though. That is some of the niche plays that you could definitely pull out
Yeah.
of this comp. Which I just
Yes.
squeezed a little bit inside just thinking, because I remember being in a battleground and doing something similar to that, where like I saw that they were targeting me and I popped shield or the reflect, and I reflected a chaos bolt and 2 greater pyros.
Oh,
Yeah. It was,
oh yeah.
I felt so
That's
good.
nice.
And then I died. That's okay.
That, but you got the reflex off, so
Right?
that's what matters.
Screw you, buddy.
Yeah.
Anyways, the funny part was just to go back to that, was after the first reflect, the mage cast greater pyro again.
I'm gonna get it this time. Don't you worry.
No, your cast time and whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right. So this is my favorite part. I know it's Winstead's favorite part, and Andolin enjoys trying to take it away from Winstead. But I get to have it all to myself today. What is one thing you would change about TSG? So if you could if you're sitting down with Ian Hazakostas right now, or any of the dev team, and they're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Whatever you want, we'll make that one change. What's one thing you would change about TSG?
For TSG in general, or like Monk?
Sure.
The one thing I'll change about Monk, so the burst life trait that I was talking about that reduces the cooldown of Life Cocoon. I wish they made that trait so instead of the 20-second cooldown, they made it so you could use Life Cocoon while stunned. We had that in, I think, WoD, and I wish they brought that back somehow. Just something like that. That's what I've changed about Monk right now. Because we're really susceptible to stuns, and as our Cupid relies on Hodge trap, right? Monks have no way to get out of stuns, or even bring back Nimble Brew that takes you out of stuns and fears. But I would mostly Life Cocoon while stunned was like that's huge for Monks, and then TSG.
Oh no! Hey! Oh no! You only got
I don't
one.
even know.
Yeah.
I only get one. Oh, okay. All right. Then absolutely. If I get one thing, absolutely.
It says it right in his title. Like,
no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. Let me Life Cocoon while stunned. Because there's some kind of outplay to it. If I get cheap shot into a poly, I could Life Cocoon before the poly, and then maybe the team swaps to me and breaks their own poly. So just stuff like that is. I like that. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, as a warrior, nothing is more frustrating than trying to charge something as it's getting gripped by a Death Knight.
Yeah.
So I wish. I don't know, like
extra charge.
No, not extra charge, but like I guess because. Like, I don't know how to explain it, because it happened so many times, in different variations of, and I guess it's totally miscommunication on our part. I don't care. It's one thing I want to change, right? But I'm frustrated when I go to charge something, and it's not there anymore because it got gripped just a second before, but yet I'm like over there where it was. Or even worse, being the Death Knight, gripping something that just got stunned and it's still stuck there. And I'm like, here I come across the map. Right?
It's there.
I wish there was if one of those happened, the system could recognize and reset the cooldown on one of the two. Right? Like get my charge back or get my death grip back. One of the two. Right?
Yeah.
Or,
I think I remember in MOP, Death Knights had a glyph where if they were immune, the target was immune to grip cooldown was reset. So they had something like that.
Right? Or instead of, better yet, put in a glyph where my grip no longer grips them to me, but grips me to them.
Oh.
Right? If I could do that and I could glyph where I'm gripping, okay, go ahead. charge away. I'm going to be right there with you. And then, oh yes, blades in your face, right?
I like that.
Something
yeah.
like that. Anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
If anybody else has a one thing they would change about TSG, by all means, email it in. technicallypvp@gmail.com. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. But we can move now into the WoW PvP news right after I push this.
All right. Who ordered up an extra large can of whoop ass?
That's an excellent question. Who ordered up an extra large can of whip ass? I believe it was Ian Hazzikosis when he went and did not, well, say not one, but he did a Q&A, 2 of them actually, for for us and for the Germans. So really interesting. A couple things came out through the the standard Q&A that he does with Lore there, and then he did another one, a German one, if I remember, which was pretty good, and it had a couple little snippets there. Just going to hit the highlights. One of the major questions was, why aren't there more currencies or vendors for gear similar to buying Azerite? So kind of an interesting, they alluded to how Titanium Residium or Titanite Residium helps Conquest help serve PvP for that. They're not totally moving away from currencies and vendors, but you can kind of get a sense that they're trying to find a balance there. So I don't know. I would really like to wonder what the world of PV or the world of Warcraft would look like if we all had vendors like they do on the tournament realm, where you can just get whatever you want and then just go at it, right? And not have to worry about RNG.
Yeah, the vendors. Yeah, it just feels so awkward right now. Even the Azerite vendors, you have to get Azerite to even get the currency. So what if you don't? Like, I leveled up a new monk and I didn't get any Azerite, any of the new Azerite from like 4 Mythic Zeros. So I don't get any Titanium or Residuum.
I saw a tweet about somebody where they did X number of arenas and X number of mythics. I can't remember what the number was. And this is kind of bad because I know it matters on the level of mythic you're doing to how much gear you get. But anyway, they did a similar number of games, and the amount of gear that then turned into Titanite Residium was exponentially much more off the mythic stuff, which they could then turn around and buy gear from.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's weird. I did a Mythic 10 and I got 600 Titan Residuum from the chest, which is cool. But I opened up my PvP chest and I didn't get any. So I think that's kind of weird to have 600 from PvE and then 0 from PvP.
Yeah,
or the chest at least. It's kind of weird. It's awkward.
I don't think I remember them saying anything about us getting the Residium from the PvP chest, though. Because from the PvP chest, you're getting the coin, right? The gladiator coin or that currency, and a few other things. So I think the coin itself, because I mean, if you look at it, 10 coins gets you a piece of gear versus how much is it for some Azerite gear on the? It's like 400 or 600 or something. Like it's a lot.
I think it depends on the item level.
The amount you get
it's a lot
from scrapping a piece of gear depends on the item level, and then and then the amount you have to spend to get an item level or whatever. Like it's in the hundreds. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's not cheap. It is not cheap at all.
Anyway, okay. War mode. So Alliance had 30% for the longest a bit. Question is seeing as war mode bonus has been 30% for the Alliance, does the team feel like this has been a failure in balancing? And their answer is, well, they wouldn't be surprised if it didn't tick down a bit. And, I think it's been fairly effective for the underrepresented factions. Lo and behold, hindsight being 2020, we now see in this current week Alliance actually has a decrease, and they lost out on the super really duper go kill 25 of the opposite faction and get 400 item level piece of gear. So that went away with that. So I think it's doing a darn good job in getting people to actually PvP. I don't know. How do you think about that? Have you seen a lot more PvP, world PvP, Mystical?
Yeah, I've seen a difference, and I never take war mode off, even when I get camped by the horde for a few hours, because it's happened. I never take it off, and I actually have noticed even my buff is at 15% right now.
Yeah, no,
on
it's
Sargeras.
regional, right?
I don't know if
it's
it's
to North
realm
America.
specific.
So yeah, so the question was
okay.
actually asking if they think it's going to go, but contrary to what they thought, it actually went from 30 down to 15.
Yeah, I mean it's working. I think it's working. Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot more Alliance out in the world using world PvP lately.
My only concern is with the 15% and the loss of that quest where you get, make a quick group and go kill 10, 15, 20, whatever.
Right.
I feel with the loss of that we may see a slight. We'll see what happens. But I'm concerned that there's going to be a shift back where all of a sudden a bunch of people are going to turn it off and be like, oh, if we all turn it off, then we can game the system and get some of this big gear.
I mean that's kind of smart, but I could definitely see it happening. Yeah, because I know.
I just want to move on to if you have another point on that though.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say the first day of the patch of like 8.1, there were so many. Alliance had the quest, so there was a lot of war mode on Alliance, but obviously it's gone down. Or balanced out now.
I think the difference is I've seen on my point of view is I'll be out and about on my Alliance with war mode on, and I'll see a bunch of other people, and nobody's really grouping up. And then I'll see a group of 5 or more, depending on what's going on, horde, and they'll just roll through. And they're obviously doing the quest, like you see them doing the quest. They'll roll through, kill a bunch of people, do the quest, and then carry on. Right? And I think that's the difference is that you have these groups of horde. They're obviously grouping together and moving as a group, which is strength in numbers. Meanwhile, the rest of the Alliance aren't doing it.
Yeah.
So let's see other questions. What's being done about server stability and lag? It is one of their number one priorities. Well, actually, it's a top priority, they said, quote unquote. But it's not a single problem. They're acknowledging that it's there's no one answer. There's a whole bunch of things that are happening, and each single one of those is doing enough of a draw that it's affecting everybody. So they fixed some of the problems, but they're still continuing to investigate and try to figure out all the different nuances to fix that issue, which I'm sure anybody who's listening to this has felt. And it's an ongoing issue. I've felt it before where I've gone into, well, I lost I think I did an arena or whatever, and I went into the arena, and after a few minutes I DC'd and I came back dead because why wouldn't they? Easy kill. Question, and there's a whole bunch of tweets we did about this as well. Not specifically asking the question, but conversing about having a PvP vendor. They Blizzard, or an Ian, thinks that the way the vendors worked in the past it's a no understanding of the value of the vendor and having that feel of control. They feel that the new system they have is more transparent and offers the same choices. And especially with season 2, how they're adding more pieces, the conquest capping, the quartermaster's coin, a bunch of other, the fact that 1 week you may get actually 2 items, not just one, stuff like that. It's almost on the same par. You just have to work the system. I don't know. I feel both sides. I mean, like I guess the thing that kind of irks is that if I can maybe not work the system, maybe I won't camp this week, but I can still randomly get a piece of gear that's better than even if I capped, right? And I think that RNG side of it is still very frustrating on the PvPers because
it's especially with the addition of these trinkets, and how much of an impact they have on an arena match. Like I know my warrior. He got the Maledict trinket on maybe 10th arena. We won, and the Death Knight I play with didn't get his until the 50th, and I didn't get one until my 300th arena. So it's just there's no control over. It's just no control. I want to be able to save up my conquest points and then buy the trinket that I want. And I don't see what the problem is really with that. I don't think anyone complained about the vendors when we had vendors. Like, I don't think anyone said, "Man, we should get rid of the vendors."
The only complaint I ever had with the vendors was two things. One, when all the PvEers went into the vendors because they could get a piece of gear that was higher item level than what they're getting in the PvE for the time. That was an issue. And then the other problem is I had to have. I always remember this argument. Why do I have to have 2 sets of gear in my bags? My bags aren't big enough to have 2 sets of gear. I have to have 1 set for this and 1 set for that. And I have to swap in and out depending on what I'm doing. And so Blizzard was always like, oh, sure, not a problem.
Right.
We'll just end up making a piece of gear. And then when you swap back and forth from specs, then that's okay. But the problem is that they've never actually done that. Keep talking about it, but they've never actually done it. Like, So before I would go do PvP, and then I would always have because item level is a thing. They wouldn't look at what gear you had, especially if you had PvP gear. You would, you weren't allowed into a heroic raid because right? And you're like 10 to 25 item levels below whoever's there, right? Because it's PvP gear and is always lower.
Yeah. Yep.
But now I have PvP gear, which is equivalent eye level of the PvE gear, but I now have to have both sets.
Exactly.
Plus, I have to have 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever other Azerite gear, because depending on what I'm doing, I need all those traits.
Oh, yeah,
and
Azerite.
I'm a cheap person. I was about to use it. Yeah.
I am too.
I've heard about people where they've lost their in-game fortune, whatever they had, by trying to reforge the Azerite gear.
Yeah.
Because they did it like 3 times in the 1 week, and the third time was astronomical, or like whatever it was, right? Like, I'm not going to do that. Are you going to?
I think my warrior was having trouble.
I think I think the argument for a PvP vendor, I argue that if they brought it back into PvP vendor, then they would, because it has a controlled and a deterministic value. They, as a company, has decided that deterministic means the item level and therefore the stats on that have to be less, because you can determine exactly when you get that piece of gear, right? Like if I know that I'm going to go into a casino and I play blackjack, and in 10 games I am going to win more money than I walked into, the casino is not going to get, like, that's going to be like the $5 table, right? But if I walk into the casino not knowing if I'm going to walk out with anything, my shirt, or if I'm going to walk away with the penthouse suite, then the gamble there is much higher. So therefore the payout is much higher. And I think that's where they're coming from. They're using that as their, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just not fun though, It
can be. Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
yeah.
When I get a piece of 415 for like doing our a rando, I'm like, guys, not that on that. I haven't done that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
God, if I did that, I would screenshot that. Like, Anyway. Okay.
Oh.
Well, anyway. So ultimately, from Ian Hoscosis on this topic, he feels that on the PvP side, we actually have more control than they're saying. In fact, actually, we're getting the same amount of control from a vendor. You're just not seeing it, and the control is it's paced out on the weekly basis just by doing cap and getting that piece of gear for the week. Is essentially what he's saying. And listening to our conversation here, I think the difference is that it'd be nice to be able to get the same conquest cap, but go, I really don't care about those shoulders today. I'd rather get those gloves.
Yeah, because so for example, I got really good legs for my chest today, and the cap this week is for PvP is a set of legs. So I'm not going to wear those, but it'd be kind of cool to say, okay, I don't need these legs. Is there another piece of gear that I could spend conquest on? Maybe a trinket or some kind of like backup option in case I don't need this piece of gear that I'm capping for. Because if it was useless to cap, I mean, I'll cap because I'll play arena. But for people that just cap, it's useless because it may be the item isn't an upgrade, so it's not even a point.
I saw one person in game that have on B tag, and they B-net screamed how they got their 6th pair of boots from their chest.
Oh,
and it's
that's the worst.
Don't need any more.
Yeah, exactly. I would. Yeah, that is the worst.
They can't.
I don't know how they
it's
can
the
fix
same,
that.
Same reason why during WAD or during Legion, I was continuously getting replacements, even with the bad chance numericals or whatever. I was still getting replacements for the things that I had legendaries for that I was never going to replace, but I was still getting those same pieces.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
That's awful.
Into let's say other things. Hot fixes. They came around the corner. Most recently, I think it was just earlier this week. The big ones I saw was the PvP tuning that they did, which I think went through today. There's a couple things. Back on the 1st, they did a bit more with the Azerite stuff, and then the big one was on the 29th. They did a massive tuning. All the traits got not all. Almost all of them got nerfed. There's a few of them got buffed, and there's also some tuning. Both the druids and hunters, paladins, priests, shaman, warlock, and warrior. Yeah. There was a bunch.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you, we can't go through it all again. But if you want to go and check out the links in the show notes, and I'm sure those who are interested probably have already seen other sorts of content that have gone through it all and talked about what's good, what's bad, and what's ugly. The Race to World First ended today for the Battle of Dazalor. So congratulations to Method for getting the world first and killing Jaina after the reset. That was
wow. Congrats to that. I didn't even have time to keep up with did Limit even stream?
I actually didn't. I didn't check it. I don't think they did. They did pop out a bunch of videos as they were killing things. But Method, congratulations to them. They got enough gear through their heroic splits, and then they were able to get the kill. So, yeah.
Wow.
Now, this is one thing, because today was reset day for North America this morning, but tonight is reset day for EU, right? So technically, they got it within the first reset.
Right. Wow.
Versus Limit, which is North America, that went through a reset.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Plus, they did that realm transfer, race change, faction change thing that they did, where they all went alliance for the extra piece of gear. And
still won.
And Method still won. Well, congrats to Method. That's insane. Do you know how many wipes it took? I feel like it took a good amount. There was a lot of tuning.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I remember seeing something the other night where they were at I think it was 9 point something or 8.9. Like it was around the 9% mark was their best run. So
yeah,
I'll be honest. I wasn't watching. I was catching the highlight reel, I guess if you will, the snippets, but I wasn't
yeah, me too. Yeah, I wasn't. As much as watching them wipe over and over again is fun.
As much as I love watching continuous heroic split runs, I'm just gonna do my own thing here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, so one last item. I did actually email some contacts I have at Blizzard. I'm still waiting for a confirmation on this. This is warning, rumor only. But based on the last PTR data dive, some people pointed this out over on Twitter and in a couple other spots over on the official forums and whatnot. The how do I do this? The Deepwing Gorge, the map for Deepwing Gorge, is no longer considered part of the RBG rotation for rated battlegrounds. So I asked for confirmation to figure out what's going on there. They said they're going to get back to me. I haven't heard back yet, but I just want to point this out. It's really interesting how this was on the PTR. It almost, I wonder if this was on purpose and they just didn't want to announce it yet. If it was by accident, because I mean, stuff happened. I mean, it's PTR, right? But it was about a week and nothing was commented on it, right? It came up on a few other spots, which kind of makes me think that it's on purpose.
Yeah.
And I have a weird feeling that they're actually trying to gauge. They did it to see, like, if it's, and then see what the community says. And then if people are okay with it, then it's going to be gone.
No one will miss that map. I guarantee it. No one will miss that map in RPGs. Not if they took out that map in Seething Shore, no
Deepwing
one
Gorge is
would
going,
miss.
but Seething Shore is staying.
No. No one's gonna. I don't think anyone will miss. I know like a few strats for Deepwing Gorge, and it's just like a bunch of 3v3s, and then you just have like I think it's still Demon Hunter because they.
I think that's the main reason is that it is the one map that mandatory requires Demon Hunter running.
Yeah, it's even better with 2 Demon Hunter tanks because you just have one leap halfway and then the second one leap halfway and just keep doing it. So that map, just based off of that,
I think that's the one thing that
it's probably
the Demon Hunter has broken that one map. I don't disagree that it should go away for that reason. I actually like the game when Demon Hunters aren't in it. It's it's a very awesome map.
Oh yeah, me too.
It's got some nuances.
Oh,
It's competitive. You can definitely do some sneak attack stuff.
Because when Demon Hunters aren't there, almost no one even pushes for the cart. Even mostly it's just around control of the nodes.
No, I've still seen push for the cart, but
I can leap. Really.
But it's you get like maybe 2, maybe 3 cart caps in the map, not 18.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like it's not as important.
Right. But it's I have seen the push for the carts because, well, I mean the carts are so awesome just because not only you steal from the enemy, right?
Right.
So if you're like almost if they're just let's say your enemy is at 50 points ahead of you, right? You can steal a cart, and if you keep that cart alive, you win the game.
It takes away the points,
right?
Oh wow, okay.
Just on ticks.
Okay, that's definitely useful in that.
Like it can work out that way. So you don't even have to cap it for yourself. You just took it away from them, so then they don't have. Now it's instead of 50 plus, they're 150 behind. So
but then it's terrible if your team doesn't have a Demon Hunter and the other team does.
Yeah. No, it's done.
You automatically have disadvantage, right? Okay, because there's no one else that can keep up with the Demon Hunter tank.
I've tried me and a couple guys we've done CC Stormbolt, hamstring. It doesn't matter. They're gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like you're at a disadvantage from the start.
So I guess the one last piece of news we already talked about, it was the trinkets on the Terminate Realm. So it's fine. It's fine. Still my thunder. Yeah. No, it's all good.
Yeah, sorry.
I think it's pretty awesome. So it's just gonna be PvP trinkets though, to be clear. They're not gonna have all the
it's just
PvP away
trinkets.
the PvE stuff.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely for the better. Trust me. Yeah. I played a few skirms, and games where you weren't getting a kill unless you had triple maledict in 46% dampening. Because you would just stack the PvE. Exactly. So yeah, I know. We have to reset all of our characters again, but it's a small price to pay. because let me tell you, 15-minute games are just not fun to play for anyone.
Mhm.
No one wants to watch it. No one wants to
Fair.
play it. So it was definitely for the better.
I think we've covered enough stuff there about the news. Let's move into the trivia question. And our previous episode's question was, what was spell batching and why did it matter to PvP? So the answer is spell batching was how WoW used to process abilities. They were processed in batches or in stacks by the servers. So if two spells were actually cast, or multiple spells were actually cast close enough in real time, on the server, they actually would happen simultaneously because they stack them and then process them all as if they happened at the same time. So by that, you could actually, two mages could actually polymorph each other at the same time. Now, that isn't possible because they've changed how that happens, and now everything is actually done on a real-time basis, which is, I think, better. But in the meantime, due to the who answered this question, I'm going to give a shout out to Solified. So he sent in the first correct answer. Congratulations to him. And I was happy to give a shout out to him. This episode's question is going to be, who is the Canadian with the highest WoW total earnings from esports? Send your answer to technicallypvp@gmail.com, and the first correct answer will earn a shout out on our next show. Speaking of shout outs, do you have any shout outs there, Mysticall?
Shout out to my team. Good luck. Let's kill it this week, and shout out to you for having me, and shout out to Icy Veins people that give me the platform to help other players. But thank you to you, really. I really appreciate it. Really. I never would have thought, I mean, anyone would actually want me to talk about WoW. So it's kind of nice.
You're so humble. You're so humble.
Man,
you stream all the time, and people are always talking to you about PvP, and like your energy is enthusiastic. It's precious.
I try to keep the energy high. I really do my best. No one wants to watch somebody that isn't having fun. And I've been playing WoW for since vanilla. And I still have fun every time I log in. Just really excited to log on. So if I could make other people happy to play the game, or even just be happy in general. I get some comments that people had a tough day and listening to my stream or watching a video made them happy. If I could do that to at least one person, my goal is just that.
Awesome. So, I think that's a good goal. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I guess
thank you.
We'll hit in our outro. Mysticall, you first. Can you tell the listeners how they can find you?
Okay. Find me. So I have a Twitter. It's kind of long, but it's twitter.com/Mysticall the Monk. And then I stream pretty regularly, irregularly. Like I don't have a schedule, but I stream as much as I can. It's twitch.tv/MissPvP. And if you're interested in YouTube videos and you play a monk and you want to learn, I also have a monk YouTube channel. It's Mysticall the Monk. So any of those spots, feel free.
And again, like I mentioned before, we'll have those in the show notes at the very bottom, along with the Finding Us, where you can find us, myself, Jerusar, Andolin, and Winstead. And those... Oh, wow. I'm still not used to doing this because I used to have the guys. I just botched that up. All right. So if you guys want to tweet at the podcast, we are at technically_PVP on Twitter. Email is technicallypvp@gmail.com. We have a blog over at technicallypvp.wordpress.com where you can find individual contact information, including our battle tags. We also have a Discord and a BattleNet community. And all links for this is going to be in the show notes as well, down at the bottom. So I want to thank everyone for listening. Thank you very much, Mysticall, for joining us. And I hope, we're looking forward to chatting with the listeners next time. Good night, all.
Oh, good night. Sorry.
You can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, or directly from the RSS feed at libsyn.com. Please give us some reviews on Apple Podcasts, good or bad. It helps us know what we're doing well or poorly, and helps others find the podcast. This has been a presentation of Technically PvP Podcast 2019.